everybody, I hope you're doing well. You're going to notice that this video is a little different than usual, and that is because I did a full video recording and it all got messed up. So I was frustrated and said, I need a change of venue, and so I went outside of my backyard. I hope it's okay and that the sound quality isn't as good as it normally is, and I will go back to my usual format next month. But until then, I hope you have a great new moon, and I hope that this works for you, this new video. Talk to you soon. Hi, this is Denise Matthew. I hope you're doing well. Coming to you from a different venue. I'm just sort of out in my backyard, and I just thought a change of scenery would be good. So basically, we're talking about the new moon that's happening on July 17th, and that's going to be happening at 24 degrees Cancer. The interesting thing about this new moon is that the nodes are going to be exactly where they were when we had an eclipse back on April 19th, 2023. So it feels like a catalyst of energy that is being reactivated because of that. So think anything that was happening back then that might have been started, or you had some themes that were sort of being activated at that particular time, that could be starting up again, or you might get some more progress ahead or something like that, because it is a new moon. And the other interesting thing about this new moon that's happening is that we have two areas of definition. We have the head and the ajna defined, as well as the sacral and the root. So that means that two pressure centers are activated globally, which means that there's going to be a fair bit of pressure happening. Now, how you feel it may be completely different, because everybody's experience of this new moon could be very different, because we do have these two groupings of energy, and it's also causing a split. So really kind of giving a tale of two stories, you could say. So for some people, it'll be a pressure in the mind and head, ajna. It will be this idea of, and remember, both of these are mutative energies. So that's what's interesting. We have the 6124 channel activated, as well as the 360. So these are both mutative energies, which means that we are in the most mutative time, probably, that most of us have had in our whole lifetime. So that's pretty incredible. But with mutation, we always know that things are moving forward and fast. And, it's in us to keep up with it all. And that's where it's best to go with our own personal flow and not really worry about what other people are doing, and not be looking at other people's grass and, mowing our own grass instead of other people's grass. So this is about sort of being in your own space, looking at what's happening in your world. And, the key here is we have the nodes that are going to be in the gate 50 line 4 and also the gate 3 line 4. Now, the gate 50 is the source of all the frequencies of intuition that we have, and it is connected to the spleen. And the spleen, of course, is an awareness center. It is our most reliable awareness center until, of course, we have the solar plexus mutation that's said to happen in 2027. So this is a time to tap into your intuition, and this is the most mutative of lines, the fourth and the third line, and this is where it's going to be for this new moon. So it is a time to really tap into your intuition, figure out what's happening and how things are working in your life. And, take a journal. I mentioned this in a short video I did the other day, journaling what's happening and sort of downloads information you're getting, because it may not always make sense. That's the thing about the 6124, especially that we have activated with this new moon. It may not always make sense. So we have all this energy for intuition that's sort of pushing us forward and saying, okay, we're mutating, we're changing, things are going to happen. So then we have the sun and the moon, and they're exalted in the gate 62 line 5. This is called metamorphosis. And it really does bring home this idea of breaking out of our cocoon, but always remembering that when we do break out of our cocoon, that everything is exactly as it's supposed to be. It's like if a butterfly is pulled out of its cocoon, the wings will not do what they're supposed to do. It has to break out. And you can't help somebody to break out of their cocoon. It has to happen on its own, and we all have our own cocoons, and we metamorphose at some points in our lives. This is also talking about if you want to release something into the world, then you really need to have the details and sort of be able to explain what you're doing with that energy. That's what it's reminding us. So the metamorphosis is, yes, you might be ready to move out into the world. Yes, you might be ready to release something, but the other perspective is it ready enough that you can explain it to others? Because that's the gate 62. We need the details. We need to be able to explain it to others, because if we can't manifest it into the real world. Every kind of energy that we have in the body graph always relies on other people to be part of it. We can have a really great idea, but it always has to be about the group, because everybody is a cog in the wheel of life. Then we all need to pull together on certain projects and those types of things. And especially with the Earth in the gate 61 line 5, this is, again, connecting to a channel with Jupiter in the gate 24, and it's bringing in this idea of these mutative ideas, but also addictive energy that could be happening as well. So that's something to keep in mind, especially with the full channel. There is more of a flow, but there is a lot of potential to get lost in your thoughts, to get lost in your head, and to have a lot of pressure to figure things out. This is about knowing what you need to know, but not knowing everything that you might want to know. It's need compared to want. And again, letting go and letting the flow happen. It's in the silence between the spaces of knowing that you get that sort of freedom away from the pressure of the thought. And if the pressure does become too much of a thing, then getting out in nature and also exercising is always a good thing. So that could be a theme that some of us are working with. The other theme is that we are looking at the defined sacral center, again, through the 360 channel, which is extremely mutative energy. So this we're looking at also Mars being activated, and Mars is in the gate 59. So what this is bringing is sort of a romantic energy, more of a relationship energy. And Venus in the gate 29, it is in detriment, but ultimately Venus in the gate 29 really means that it's about this idea of speaking your mind and telling people exactly what you think and not really prettying it up, because that's kind of what Venus likes to do. Venus likes to have peace and harmony. So in this case, Venus is saying, this is what I think, this is what I want, and these are the commitments I want to make, and being very blunt and precise, and that's okay. But it's not always going to be what people want to hear, but sometimes it's what they need to hear. And Venus is here to deliver that. Venus in the gate 29 talks about energy of potentially relationships as well. And it's committing to the right relationships, because it is the gate of commitment. There are two types of relationships that we have in human design. One is a tribal relationship, and that's related to sort of the whole defense circuit, which is the 59-6, and you go to the 50-27. The other perspective is the 29-46, and this is a commitment to not only be in the flow of life and be committed to your life, but it's also the commitment to marriage and those types of things. So we have a collective marriage and also a tribal marriage. So we have both of those energies that are activated. So this could be about more commitments. This could be about letting go of commitments because it's not really what you want anymore. It could be about relationships. And, with Mars in the energy, we have this real push to connect, to break barriers. And it doesn't always have to be a sexual nature, but of course that's part of a lot of the energy. But it is this real drive and need to push through the boundaries and to connect with somebody in a very deep way. But again, Mars might want to connect with you very quick and then move on. So, although there might be some potential for some connections here, whether or not they're all going to last the test of time may not necessarily be something that will happen. But with Venus in the gate 29, there is potential for more of the right connections, because there is more of a discernment about what you want and what you don't want. So those are the two big energies that we have with this new moon moving forward. And, ultimately, it is a catalytic event. It is karmic as well. If we look back at the nodes that are being activated, as I talked about, and if you haven't seen that video, it's really short. Just you might want to check it out, because it might be worthwhile to really sit with the energy that's happening between July 17th and July 21st, when the South and North nodes are going to be in the gate 54 line 4 and gate 3 line 4. Gate 3 line 4, as I said, is karmic ancestral energy that we bring into the world that helps us move through life. So overall, this new moon seems like there is potential for pressure, but I think there's potential to have some fun and to sort of go out and if you like to ponder and think about things, then that might be something that you get a lot of, and sort of asking the big questions and thinking about the big questions, and maybe even getting some downloads about some answers that you just never knew you could get, and suddenly it just pops out of nowhere. There's potential for that. And then the other perspective is the idea of getting out their relationships. In the Northern Hemisphere, it is a summer event. It is summer, and that's what a lot of people are doing. They're out sort of enjoying themselves and vacationing and all those types of things. So that's kind of what the energy is sort of showing us for this new moon. I think it'll be a new moon where we can get a lot of information if we're really tapping into what exactly is happening. And if you are doing that, you might see things play out in the future, because this is, like I said, because this is a very intuitive energy. You might see things play out in the future, or you might get a directive of where you're supposed to go. If you're launching something new, it's a great time to do it. Of course, it's a new moon. Wait till the moon starts to be shown again. In other words, you want to see a little bit of the moon. You don't want to go right on the new moon, because sometimes that means you can't be seen. So you want to see that the moon is starting to move into the next quarter. But ultimately, with the gate 61 line 5 in play as well, and we're grounding into this idea that people will believe that you know something, and they'll be right on board with you. So if you have all the backings to get it ahead, then things can go really well. That is the new moon coming from my backyard. And I hope you have a wonderful new moon. And I will be back again next time. Until then, take care. And I will show you some of my garden stuff at the very end. So if anybody's interested to see what I'm growing this year, you can hang around till the end. Until then, take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye. So we got green onions, and we've got tomatoes. We've got some squash. Nothing crazy growing yet. Lots of squash, different varieties. We have winter squash as well as summer squash. And these are my little blueberry plants that I just put in this year. They're little small and not so impressive, but hopefully next year we'll get some blueberries. We've got lots of tomatoes that are already on the plants. And that petunia that I showed you guys a couple months ago when it was just a seedling, that's just how big it is now. It's just this huge monster of a thing. So it just shows you how much stuff can grow. And these are all my peppers, and they're growing really well. I've got lots of hot peppers. And things are a little slower this year. They said it was because we have the smoke, but I don't know. It could be that. But things are a little slower. I do notice that. And this is just another tomato plant. These are supposed to be some really tasty sun gold tomatoes. This is my strawberry plants. And these are all my cabbages. I went crazy with cabbage this year. And cabbage, kale, and even more cabbage here. And almost ready. Well, they are ready to pick. I'm just sort of sitting with them until I need them. And these are corn. Last year I had no luck with corn, because just as it was ready to be picked, I had raccoons wipe out everything. These are my onions. They'll be ready sort of at the end of the summer. And again, more tomatoes. And here we have more tomatoes, because we don't have enough. This is a little secret garden area where the birds come and hang out. And this is a tree that I carried out and planted here many years ago. It's grown quite a bit. And finally, we have more tomatoes, because we love tomatoes and to can them at the end of the summer. And there's nothing better than fresh grown tomatoes. These are cucumber plants. We've got little cucumbers. I've had a lot of trouble with cucumber beetles. So that's something we're trying to get rid of. But for now, we're just working with them. And we've got some little squash starting to come. Nothing crazy yet, but there's always potential. But as they say, nothing is guaranteed. It's just a hope and a dream. No expectations. You can't have that when you can't have expectations when it comes to having a garden, when you have so many different factors that can shift everything. And I've got some Thai basil and more peppers and coriander, and these flowers. These are little violas that have been seeding year after year. And that is my garden. I've got some peas hanging there, and that balloon is there to keep the animals away, because it makes a sound and they don't like it. And that's, I get the peas right there. Well, I hope you enjoy the garden, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.